Um, yeah, just like I posted in the title, I've had a lot of correspondence through Facebook and every networking meeting I go to or seminar or anything else, or and tons of clients that I talk to. Everyone always asks, "Hey, how'd you get into this line of work? What brought you here?" Because it's not very well known. It's one of the possibly one of the best kept secrets in personal development. Hey, Jamie. So, yeah, I've shared this story so many times. I figure, well, might as well just go public with it for all my new followers and new connections. So, I was really sweet, typical happy child when I was much younger, but I don't know. There was always different things going on. Wasn't in the most supportive environment, but by the time I was 8 years old, and that's eight, not 18. By the time I was 8 years old, I thought the only hope for my life was suicide. And from that point, I mean, that doesn't start with the best foundation to try to build any kind of future on. And all the way up until I was into my early 20s, I guess, the only goal I ever set for my life was to end my life. And what brought me into this actually started when I was in that darkest moment. I remember I was 14 years old, just turned 14, I think. And I had snuck out of my house. I had a gun with me, and I put the barrel underneath my chin and planned on ending my life that night. I'd finally had enough. And then as I was squeezing the trigger, something snapped. Luckily, it wasn't the trigger, but it was something inside of me, and I got just really angry, really upset. And just the fact that I was feeling that way, the fact that anyone could feel that way, and especially someone as young as I was would feel that way. And that I was also got angry about the fact that I've been trying my best to get help and, felt like I was getting ignored. So, kind of, just made a promise at that time, just kind of screamed it out loud to the sky or whatever. I didn't, quite honestly, I wasn't very sure about my spiritual beliefs at the time. And was actually rejecting a lot of that at that time. But I just kind of screamed out that I was like, if I ever figure out a way out of this, a way out of this darkness, a way out of feeling this way, I'll spend every moment from that day forward coming back and finding others and trying to help them do the same, shine the light for the path for them to get out of their own darkness, whatever that may be. Now, I wish I could say, the very next day I woke up and there was no clouds in the sky and it was all sunny and birds followed me around like a Disney princess, serenading me along my path. But wasn't quite like that. It took a little while. Hey, David. Hey, Nick. Thank you for joining. So, I was very young, but to be as depressed and down as I was at that time, it had done a lot of damage, and some very, very vulnerable stages in life. Like I say, at 8 years old, I wanted my life to end. So it didn't just happen that day. It was gradually building up to that during the most formidable years. And so, yeah, this time at 14, when I made that promise, it still took a while. Still had to wake up every day in the same environment. I didn't have a clue what to do because I'd been trying, in my mind, I'd been trying best I thought I could do. Well, the best I could do at the time with resources I had, trying to find a solution, trying to find a way out. And yeah, there was still bumps on the road. It didn't happen overnight. Like I say, the same state that I was in, that same mindset still kind of stayed with me throughout high school and into my early adult years. Now, luckily, there were a few people along the way, a couple teachers. Actually, David that's watching now is one of those friend that came in at a very particular time. People that cared just enough to give me just enough, like wind in my sails or whatever, just to carry on a little bit. And finally, as I got into my 20s, I realized, well, what I've been doing isn't getting me anywhere. It's not getting me where I want to be. So I started looking for other options and looking for ways to change. And then when I found out I was going to be a parent, things really got ignited. Luckily, I had just enough awareness to realize if I bring kids into this world and as the person I am right now, they're not going to have much of a chance. They won't end up much better off than I was. So that really lit the fuel up. And, that gave me my why. That gave me a huge why. Because, I didn't want to see anybody living like that, like I was. But now I had this person I'm bringing into the world, and I'm fully responsible for everything in their life. And that really fired it up, gave me the boost, the drive to dig deeper and, push harder to find a solution, find an option of some sort. And right around that time is when I quit all the meds I was on. I think I was on 3 prescriptions at the time for, anxiety and depression and stress and all that. And the doctors tried to get me to stay on them for a couple more years and wean myself off over like a 2-year period. And I didn't want to do that. So I said, the heck with it. And I just went cold turkey. And I don't recommend anybody do that, but it worked phenomenal for me. And I started looking for other options, started reaching out, started studying more, and it still took a while. But just the awareness, the idea, the desire to be in a better state than I was a huge shift in how I acted, a huge shift in the way I interacted with the world, in my mindset, everything, and just kept moving on. I appreciate it, Dave. You have said it actually a couple times, and our conversation that time when I ran into you at the grocery store, like 2 or 3 years ago, was phenomenal. I keep it with me in my heart and mind all the time. Thank you. You've done more than you could probably ever know. So definitely, I don't have the vocabulary to explain it to you, but definitely not poetically anyway. But so that awareness was there, and then I went looking for ways to cure myself. I'd actually kind of forgotten about that idea of helping others. It kind of seemed like it was too far away by this point, because I was still struggling to get myself there. And then as I found those solutions, as I found those other options, I became, just more hopeful, and then more passionate about it, and really started becoming obsessed with it. I think anybody, once you've been through even a small fraction of time of feeling any form of hopelessness, once you get a grasp of it, a little taste of some hope, it becomes very addictive. And, for almost 2 decades, I've been running around feeling like there was absolutely zero hope in my life. And now all of a sudden I was starting to see, not only see hope, but I actually started to see the results of it, and I stopped hanging out with a lot of friends. I worked in an industry that took me on the road 8 to 10 months out of the year sometimes, and that was every single day, 7 days a week for months at a time until the gig I was on was wrapped up. So on the road a lot, we'd get done with work, we'd go hang out after work. Everybody's trying to keep each other together, supportive, because you're just out in isolation a lot of times. And I started withdrawing from them, but more in a positive state, because everybody was going out just doing the same thing every day. And I started going back to my room. I was researching more, I was studying more, and I was looking for more outlets to dive deeper into these things, psychology, neuroscience, neurolinguistics, and psychocybernetics, and all this stuff. Looking for, it's like, wow, I didn't know this existed until now. What else exists that I'm not aware of yet? And just kept digging. And the more I did that, the more just fascinated I became with all these stories I would hear of so many people overcoming so much stuff that people thought up until then was impossible. And many people still think it's impossible. And then before I knew it, I would be at work and someone would be talking about an issue they have or have had forever, or an issue their kid is having, or their friend, or whatever. And things would just start falling out of my face, and just different suggestions or different observations or whatever. And people are like, how did you know this stuff? Why aren't you doing that for a living? Things like that. And then before I knew it, I was like mentoring and coaching people that I worked with, and friends and family. And then I even have friends and colleagues that would actually like set me up, get me to invite me over to like a dinner party or something, just so I could, work on their spouse or work on somebody else, but they wouldn't tell me that's why I was there. Yeah, and then before I knew it, this found me. Like I say, I never went. Even when I started going for my certifications and everything else in this, it was simply just to know it better and have a better understanding, a better delivery, because I was still just trying to fix myself and trying to see if there was something I was overlooking, some way I could do it better, anything like that. And again, just looking, it's like I wasn't aware of this up until this point. What else am I not aware of? So I was just constantly looking for that next thing that whatever that holy grail that was out of my had been out of my awareness. And then like I say, clients started finding me, through word of mouth or referrals or whatever. And then there was a whole new set of baggage, because then I had to deal with, it's funny how, the universe provides you with something, and then all of a sudden our mind chatter, our mind friction, our monkey talk in our head starts taking over. And I would have these limiting beliefs popping up left and right. It's like, whoa, I was the guy who was sleeping in his car, like, 17, 18, 19 years old, because I didn't want to go home, or didn't have a place to stay, or whatever. A lot of those times I spent the night in David's guest room. Thank you, man, again. There was so many limiting beliefs about, who are you to do this? You didn't go to college, you barely made out of high school, all this. And so then I started having to deal with that. And I would actually turn clients away. They were like practically begging me to let them give me money, but I didn't feel worthy of it yet. So then I had to work on that. And luckily I had some mentors in my life and some friends and some colleagues to help me break through all that. And then the more I did, actually the better I got, and the more healing I got. And that's what I love about that's what I love about life. The more I've ever done for someone else, the more I've reached out to serve someone or help them do something in their life, whether it's helping a friend move, which I try not to do. Please don't call me if you need help moving. I'll cheer you on or something from afar. But I worked for a moving company in my teenage years. I hate that job now. I can't stand it. Moved way too many people, and I've moved all over the country so many times. But I'll deliver food. How about that? And I give you the belief you can do it without me. But anyway, whatever it was, whenever you help anyone, it doesn't matter if it's your job or you're volunteering, or you're just, let's say, helping a friend out, or lending a friendly ear, or giving a shoulder to cry on, any of that. Notice how you feel when all that's done. Like, that's actually how we help ourselves. Zig Ziglar said the way to get everything you want is by helping other people get what they want. That's really, that's about the truest words that have ever been spoken. And, it goes against what a lot of us were taught, or, programmed to believe. We're more programmed with like competition and, just get it for yourself first, and then you can do it for everybody else. But yeah, really the path to happiness, the path to what I consider success, is definitely just finding ways to serve others, help them solve a problem they have. And through that, so much healing comes for ourselves, and so many answers. Every time I get a client, I find it hysterical still to this day. Every time I've ever worked with a client, working with them gives me a solution, and usually they say it, but it's some solution to an issue I've been dealing with. And usually the clients I get, whenever it's a new client, it's a reflection of something I've been, a challenge or something I've been working with in my own life, whether it's, a challenge of some kind of limiting belief or that's come up, or just an area of life that I'm trying to expand and get out of my comfort zone. Whether you believe in like a higher power and think the universe is doing that, or you think it's just coincidence, doesn't really matter. The fact is, notice how much that pops up in your life. How many times your friends come to you with something you're dealing with, or let's say every time you help somebody with something else, totally unrelated, and then you walk away from that and you come up with a solution of something in your own life, something you needed to hear. Thomas Edison and Albert Einstein and all these others used to actually say the same thing. They said whenever they were struggling with something, to get their mind off of it, some problem with Edison, it was an invention or something that he was trying to figure out, like the light bulb and all that. They would actually walk away completely from it and do something else to get their mind off of it. Like Edison was more well known for just going and like taking naps and then trying to come up with a solution, setting the intention to wake up with the solution. Occasionally he would go and help someone else on a different project, usually one of his other inventors or whatever, because he pretty much worked 24/7. Einstein would go around and either just watch people in the park or walk around the street to the point where he literally got lost and would have to call his assistant to find out how in the world to get back. But he would go and look for just random acts of kindness to do for people, whether it was picking a flower for some woman that was walking through the park and handing it to her, or buying an ice cream cone for some kid he saw walking down the street. Just things like that, things to light up someone's day, just make it a little bit better. And that becomes addictive. And like I say, there's we live in a world of polarity, and everything balances. Everything in this universe, if there's 10 bad things happen to you, there's got to be 10 good. There has to be. That's just the way it works. And it's beautiful. You can't do something for somebody else and not get something back for it. So the best way to receive is to give, and the best thing from giving comes, you receive the gift of giving it, but you get that energy, you get that gratitude from them, and then something comes to you. Like it just happens. Like I say, I don't know exactly if I'm right on it or where it comes from. Like my beliefs where it does, so I don't even express them, and they're mine, and I don't try to influence anybody else. But whether you believe it's a universal thing, it's a higher power, or it's just coincidence, it doesn't really matter. Just the fact that it happens. Notice how much it happens, and notice again how enlightened, how empowered you feel, and how happy you feel after you've done something for somebody else. And that's the greatest payoff ever. And I love it. And luckily I see this so much with our kids. I hear all the time from their teachers and the people at school that they're the best examples. They're the best role models of like looking out for other students. And every time a new student comes in, it's like, oh, Dylan befriends them, or Lincoln will, or whatever, and it's like they're taken care of. And Jaden's the same way, and I love it, and because I've seen what it's done for them, I've seen what it's done in my life, and the fact that I get to actually do that for a living, I've found, actually, like I say, it found me. Doing this for a living literally found me, and then had to beat me over the head until I woke up to actually take action on it. But yeah, do that. If you're going through something, connected with a lot of people lately that are going through all kinds of stuff, and they're like, oh, I can't afford to do anything right now with anything. It's like, all right, the best way to heal is, for one, well, first you have to have awareness, and you do. If someone's reaching out to me, they do, and then it's, honest to God, the best thing you can do to begin to heal, to begin to feel better, whatever it is simply that. Go do it for somebody else. And what's really awesome is if you find somebody going through a very similar struggle to you and you help them with theirs, yours starts to dissolve as well. But yeah, even if you can't find somebody like that, or you don't want to face that, or whatever it is, go to a soup kitchen and volunteer. Help a little old lady cross the street, or help the mom at the store with 3 kids with her, help her take her groceries out to the car and put them in the car, and do that a couple times and start seeing the shifts in your own life. Every time I get stuck, every time I feel on a rut, I'll start looking for something. Like I say, it can be totally just small and seem minuscule. If my neighbor's trash cans blow over with the wind, I'll stop and I'll pick them up and I'll roll them to his door. And to this day, every time I've done it, I don't have a clue if I don't think he knows it's me. It's doing it. This mystery person that rolls his trash cans over. And that actually makes it even more cool, the fact that he doesn't know who it is. But something that simple, like it shifts my state for the rest of the day as well. So I've gotten pretty good when I'm like stressed out, frustrated or something, and just running around crazy. My schedule's nuts between things I'm doing for clients, and then also trying to keep my relationship strong and nourished with Marina, and then scramble around everywhere I need to be for 3 different kids who are into everything. When I get in those moments, that's when I have actually made a habit and to take like 30 seconds, roll my neighbor's trash cans. Today's actually trash day, so I'm gonna do it when I get off this video. I'm gonna put the trash cans back. I'm gonna challenge myself to do 5 neighbors on the way to pick the kids up from school. And now I've got to do it because I said it on Facebook. So once it's on Facebook, it's official. But yeah, like I would stress out about the idea of doing it in those moments. But then every time I did it, I don't know, it made the rest of my schedule flow, even though it put me like 5 more minutes behind schedule and I was already running 20 minutes behind. It's funny how the things just start to flow after that. Things just start to connect. Red lights stay, or traffic lights stay green longer. Things just happen to help you get where you need to be. So yeah, if you're going through something, you're trying to get out of, whatever your darkness is, like I was at, age 8, 14, 20, all that. Help somebody out. Do something nice for somebody. And you do that enough, I promise you, after a while, you won't need someone like me. You won't need to even think about working with me. And that's actually what I want. It's a funny industry I'm in, because it's me and, so many of my friends and colleagues that are in this are the same way. It's like, our goal is actually to work ourselves out of business to where nobody needs us. I wish there was no trauma or phobias or depression in the world. I wish there was none of that. I wish there was no emotional baggage at all. But the truth is, it's there. But luckily, it's pretty easy to take on, but it's almost just as easy to release. You just have to believe it. Just like I keep saying, everything comes down to belief. Anyway, speaking of the kids and my neighbor's trash cans, I've got to wrap this up and go pick them up. I just want to do I've been getting these questions a lot lately, so I just want to do a Facebook Live on it. If you guys have any other questions, any feedback, or need any kind of support, want to chat about putting together a strategy session and see, if there's something I can do to help you or someone I know, feel free to reach out and let's connect. And I want to see you guys on the next one. Everybody have a great Thursday.